Hey guys, I'm Brandon Sewell, owner of Seal Pro Painting and the host of the Off the Ladder podcast. Our mission is to help you learn so you can lead well and then ultimately get off the ladder and run your business. I'm here today with a guest, Trenton Miller, and we're going to just interview him. He was the owner of 321 Space Cleaners, correct? So Trenton, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, kind of your story from childhood, how you kind of found yourself going into business.
Wow, yeah, that's there's a lot there, that's for sure. I born and raised here in Brevard County.
Sure.
I did with my mother early on. I actually lived in about 9 different states.
Okay.
By the time I was in middle school, I actually found myself back in Brevard.
Okay.
Ended up having a little bit of a, I'd say, rough upbringing. I ended up getting placed in foster care.
Okay.
Graduated high school, was really involved in like the ROTC thing, so I enlisted
Okay.
in the Army and wasn't in very long. I was a truck driver essentially, 88 Mike, and went into airborne school
Okay.
and got injured.
Right.
So I got out with a medical discharge, started working at T-Mobile, and for a long time, that's all anybody knew me by was the guy working at Metro, PCS, T-Mobile for like 8 years.
Right.
So, but actually, similar to you, I was working there while also in college.
Okay.
I graduated with my bachelor's degree through
Right.
some scholarships of being in foster care and from the Army. And yeah, essentially that's kind of brought me into the business world. I kind of always was an entrepreneur.
Right.
I back in school used to sell candy, and was always like fundraisers was like top seller.
Right. Right.
At T-Mobile, whenever I got out of the Army and went into that, it was pretty natural for me, which is no coincidence. My dad sells roofs, my aunt sells cars,
Yeah.
my grandfather sells mobile homes, so like the whole
Right.
dad side is sales.
Yeah.
Coming from the foster care background, I think I got to see early on the right and wrong way of doing things.
Sure.
And fortunately had some really good mentors in my life that were at my high school that ended up being the people that fostered me.
Yeah.
I call them my parents, but yeah, it all kind of led slowly to where I knew I was going to eventually work for myself. Graduated college. My last elective was real estate,
Right.
and that's how I kind of got into the real estate world, which then led me into the cleaning homes, and what started off in that realm led into 18 months later selling it, which is
Right.
not even that long. So
Yeah. So now, when you say that you started this cleaning company, did you have any previous experience with running or working for or being the employee of a cleaning company?
not of a cleaning company, no.
Okay.
I can say that I was always a very clean person. My
Sure.
mother was my biological mother when I was young. My mother had me at 15, so she was a very strict parent.
Sure.
We had chores, and we were grew up the old-fashioned way essentially.
Yeah.
And so I've always been very organized, very clean, very mature for my age almost, is exactly what I was told all my whole childhood growing up, probably because I had to grow up a little earlier than most. But no, never worked in the cleaning industry. To be honest with you, whenever I opened the company, I was already a real estate agent. I have two sisters that live here locally, and they were working for a cleaning company.
Okay.
And they weren't getting paid right. They were having to travel all over like Florida essentially,
Yeah,
and not
yeah.
getting paid for travel, so it wasn't worth it. And
Sure.
I had a couple listings. I was like, hey, I need these cleaned, and I'll pay you more than what she's paying you.
Okay.
So, and when I found out they weren't getting treated right, I just opened the LLC,
That's
and
awesome.
that was the start of it.
Nice. So a lot of people who, I've talked to a lot of contractors, people who are, maybe aspiring to start their own business, and maybe they come from a background in sales. And I hear a lot of people ask, do I have to have experience in this area to start a company? And it sounds like you're saying like you can very easily start a company, never have to be out in the field and be successful.
100%. Yeah, I think it depends on how you want to do it. As an example, I actually had when I was deciding on doing the cleaning company, and like when I was creating the name and getting my business plan going, I actually had an opportunity to purchase a tattoo shop.
Okay.
And very cheap, over here in Cocoa, the cleaning business, what attracted me to that was it was very low cost to start, right? I mean, essentially buy some cleaning chemicals and have some energy to clean, right?
Right.
Show up. But I ended up not going with a tattoo shop because I'm not an artist. So if it wasn't, if my sister is one of them is a tattoo artist as well. So I was like,
Okay.
if she gets sick or if I don't have another artist in the shop, I don't have a business.
Sure.
So where it was like with cleaning, worst case scenario, I'm gonna have to get out there and clean. Like
Sure,
at least I
sure.
can control the outcome a little bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
So that's the whole reason why I ended up going that route. And then yes, over time, a lot of mistakes were made. The first year, I learned a lot and a lot of YouTube on tips and tricks for my
For cleaning.
industry.
Yeah. So, what would you say obviously the whole theme of this podcast is helping either those who are wanting to go into the trades to be able to have a business that they work on instead of in, right?
Yes.
Because that's really when you're a business owner. Or for, those guys who are out there, gals who are out there who have a home service business and they're working in the field, right? And that's all they're doing. They don't make time for anything else. They're just consumed by their business. What do you think? What mindset did you have to put you in that place where you could have a business that was obviously making you income, but you didn't necessarily have to be there all the time? Like what mindset did you have to do that?
I would say, what mindset would you have to have? I mean, definitely leadership, proactive, and almost like a managerial role. That's how I had to treat it. When I worked at T-Mobile over the 8 years, I started off as a like entry level salesperson. And ended up watching that franchise go through multiple sales, like as far as changing ownership. Um, Me not knowing if I had a job or not whenever that ownership transition took place, and then having to learn all their new systems and processes, which is a huge
Right.
key factor of why my business is the way it was. But essentially, I was able to grow up the ladder to where it went from, okay, now I'm a store manager. Now I had 4 stores. Now I had 7 stores. To whenever I left, I had 14 locations throughout the Brevard, and I was the district manager. Like, I
Right.
mean, second to running like right underneath the owner,
Right.
and
Right.
unfortunately, I had a lot of the same duties as an owner, and that's where a lot of my experience came from. And at the time, I really did not like working there, and that's actually what brought me closer to my faith a couple years ago. Was I was unhappy at work. I had just gotten it started in real estate, and it was going rough. I didn't even have the cleaning business, and it was a lot of prayer that I was like, God, I need to go work for myself. Like, I'm doing all this stuff, not even making 80,000 a year. I'm not seeing my daughter, who was one at the time, 4 days a
Right. Right.
week because I'm working, and there's a lot of sacrifice I was making to not have anything in return. And I literally remember making the call to my boss at the time, like, I need a weekend off to figure out what I'm going to do because I'm about to divorce my wife. We just don't even know how to tell my daughter. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it was all
Yeah.
crumbling down. And fortunately, yeah, I mean, real estate picked up. I opened this cleaning company, and I can tell you, 2 years today, my life is completely different, and I haven't
Yeah.
ever been this thrilled to
Yeah.
be living.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, that's
I'm so
awesome.
super
And,
happy
that's what this is all about. This is
out of that rut.
um, getting people to that place where it's like, okay, well, it doesn't matter how much you work and how much success you strive for, right? If your family fails, if your marriage fails, if
Yeah.
if you can't be there with your kids, if you can't enjoy, the fruit of your labor, right? So, what I'm really about is trying to get people out of this mindset of like, I have to do everything, I have to like, be there every day. It's not going to get done right unless I
Yeah.
do it myself. There's a lot of guys who have that mindset.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been
But I
there.
mean, it's like I have a successful business, right? And we have an incredible reputation, in the local area here. We're, one of the top rated companies. And look, I don't have a ton of painting experience, right? But I understand that my guys are great painters. And if I lead them well and if I make sure that they understand the values of our company, then they can go out there, they can do great work, and they can leave our customers with an amazing experience. And I don't have to be there every single day.
Yeah, I think in the beginning when it was just me and my 2 sisters, that we were definitely out there. I was in the field, you
Sure.
know. Um, I kind of had, I guess, this mindset where I didn't want to ever, excuse me, deny a job.
Mm-hmm.
So because I never wanted to deny a job, I was like working late nights. I was still kind of doing the same thing, and it wasn't until I hired employees or at
Mm-hmm.
least subcontractors and started
Right.
expanding. And my biggest thing is I was never going to tell a client no.
Sure.
With good work ethic, being driven, you kind of have that same mindset as far as like you have an attention for detail, right? Which
Sure.
correlates to me, my time in the Army, right? I'm disciplined and I know what
Mm-hmm.
is good and bad is bad. And uh, not to say a customer's always right, but typically you can catch the drift on why they're upset and try to fix it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So at one point, the 321 Space Cleaners, we were contracted with some major builders out in the Vieira, city of Vieira, Palm Bay. We were out in Mim, so I mean, we were all over Brevard running, I think, 20 cleaners. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, there were. I mean, when I'm running that size of a team, I cannot be in the field. How can
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
answer phone? And then eventually, we hired an administrator that had to answer the phones. We were using Jobber for a lot of the back end stuff, which was a huge weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And then we ended up hiring the manager, and like I said, it was all a matter of making the plan and making it. And a majority of the ownership. Was just me as a sole person.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, just that experience I had over the 8 years at T-Mobile definitely gave me a lot of the experience I needed in the field. So for somebody that maybe isn't sure if they're ready to take that step, like go get a managerial job somewhere else and go through their trainings. I mean, a lot of these companies go through the same stuff. It's all HR related, you know.
Sure. Sure.
So they're going to teach you about leadership. They're going to teach you their core values, their mission statements. You know, mine had a lot to do with faith. It was a faith-based business, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, quality and community comes first. And if you're doing those things, it's like it's hard to fail, you know.
Yeah.
And like you just said, in the back end, it really helps out individually and mentally in my own headspace because I'm doing things that are making a difference to people.
Yeah.
So,
So let's dive a little deeper in that. So you start this cleaning business, basically no experience, and you grow this company, and eventually sell it. Kind of dive in if somebody was wanting to start a home service business and they're wanting to see it grow and become successful. What would you say were some of like your key ways of marketing, getting yourself out there to your customers and seeing that kind of growth and success in just a couple years? Where somebody who is just starting a business, they might be afraid, how am I going to get a business? How am I going to get this thing off the ground? Kind of give me some, share with us some of the details of like, how did you initially get it off the ground, get some of your first clients, and get the ball rolling?
um, I wish that I wish I could pinpoint it down to just one thing. It was
Sure.
definitely a combination of things.
Sure.
Good marketing, being reliable. The number one call we would kind of get in the field is we called cleaners and they didn't even show up. You know, and there's a lot of industries like that. Being in real estate, I hear a lot of the times contractors just don't show up, and that's part of the problem. People get busy or they aren't organized enough to do it. Um, Marketing, being reliable, having the quality and the communication. I mean, customer service goes a long way. Not getting upset when somebody has a problem, especially in the cleaning industry that I was in. It's like everyone's definition of clean is kind of a little different. And as I started off, it was taking every job I could, and even taking hits on some of the jobs as far as making any money because I wanted to. My reputation was more important.
Sure.
Focusing on the reviews. Jobber played a huge role in that. I actually had him partnered with a company called Scorpion.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of Scorpion before.
No, I haven't heard of Scorpion. We use Nice Job.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're referencing like a reputation management.
So they do a lot. So they actually were the designers of my website.
Okay.
My website was done very, very well. That's probably the number one compliment I get is, yeah, your website is just phenomenal looking. Like the way they have it laid out, the transitions, the pages, and honestly, it didn't cost me even $1,000. Which for a lot of people is surprising. But yeah, I hired them on from a referral from another home service business, a renovation company. He said, yes, they're great. See what's up. So I
Right.
called him, hopped on a call signed up, and yeah, they built my website. And essentially on their platform, it's lead generation, but it's also reputation. So they link up all of your social medias and Google accounts and stuff to help get you more reviews. So we were, 30, 40 reviews, all 5 stars. Of course, we had lots of pictures on Google.
Right.
The Google business account was set up. Facebook page and Instagram, those are really the platforms we used. And we were just consistently posting, once, twice, 3 times a week, and just staying consistent to where we finally started getting followers. And although there wasn't a lot of business generating from that, even to this day, it's not like I get appointments a lot through social media. We're at people's top of mind. And that's what's important.
That's huge.
Um,
Let me ask this: were you paying for any advertising?
None.
Okay, that's
No
great.
ad spend. Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't do any pay per clicks. I paid Scorpion under $500 a month. That was to manage my website. We were able to see all of the forms coming in from the website. We could also, there was a way, they had like their own phone number to track the calls coming in. So it would record our phone calls. That way we could also do some internal auditing on like customer service. And yeah, I mean, it was just like essentially a portal where I could go in and contact these people. And also just, it kind of kept a chain of them. In your call log, that isn't going to keep track of it, especially if you're mixing business and your personal phone together. So I could see all the clients coming in. And we had a goal of 10 leads per month from my website and SEO. And I wasn't paying for any extra SEO, no Google ads, no Angie's List, none of that stuff.
Sure.
Just like I said, the whatever service fee they had, I think it was $480 a month, which I know it's more now. I got grandfathered in, fortunately, early on with them. But yeah, that platform, I'd say between Jobber, that, and just the drive, it all played a big factor in the success. And we were supposed to be getting not 10 leads a month, and they were I was getting 30.
Okay.
Getting in with the builders out here doing the post construction cleaning was huge. They're out there building homes like crazy, so post construction's a thing. That's whenever I had to boost up from 3 or 4 employees to 20.
Okay, great.
Because I was like, once again, I don't want to say no. They said, how many jobs can you handle? I said, send me as many as you got. I'll figure out the rest on the way.
Yeah.
So a lot of uncertainty, but we tried mailers. We tried signs at golf courses. We tried a magazine. But honestly, my biggest return on the investment was using Scorpion. And like I said, they were connected through Jobber, so that whenever a form would come in through Scorpion, through my website, it would go right into a Jobber as a request.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. So can you think back and remember one of your first clients and how you got them? Do you remember that job and what that was like?
I can't remember my first one. It was probably one of my own properties, but I can tell you that we had a mutual friend, me and you, that I did a project for her, and it went very good as far as the customer was happy, the client was happy. I had enough people there to do the job, but it definitely taught me a lot as far as what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do.
Sure.
Clearly we were cleaning a house, right?
Yeah,
That's what we did. We cleaned houses. But,
sure.
In this situation, there was a lot of furniture still in the home, and we're not a moving company, we're a cleaning company.
Yeah.
So
right.
I learned in that situation, like I said, even though everybody ended up being happy, I learned from that situation that I needed to stay in my lane. And if we're going to be a cleaning company, we're a cleaning company, not a moving company, a junk removal company, a painting company, like doing all this stuff. And because I'm in the real estate world, I want to do all of those things. Potential to gain a client, build that relationship, and of course my company's people first group, because I'm known to just give. I'm a giver, and it comes back tenfold, and that's why I give so much. But I put people first. I'm in there. My first real estate sale was I painted the guy's outside of his house to help him close, because we had to fix the chipped painting, and I'm out there helping him paint his house.
Right.
Most people don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I learned a lot from that situation as far as staying in my own lane, and we're not a moving company. Saying no to a job sometimes is you don't want to say no because you don't want to lose the money. But then if you would have just said no, you probably would have not lost money because of how crazy the job was, or the headache, or the time and stress it causes you.
Yeah. Yeah, when I initially started, I had a mentor who had this approach of just say yes to everything and then figure it out, right? But what I quickly found out is that clashed with my desire to have just integrity and to serve well, right?
Right.
And our part of our mission statement is, we have our whole mission statement, and then at the end, it's because people matter. And so everything that we do, the reason that we do it is because people matter. And so when I think of like the those opportunities where I have to say no, I have a little bit more peace about it because I understand, like deep down in my heart, I wasn't going to be able to serve that person as well as I would have liked to, because whether it was I stretched myself thin or I wasn't sure how I was going to get it done. And so I've kind of just came to this resolve for myself that because people matter, yes, money is necessary, but I'd rather focus on excellence than the money, if that makes sense. And the money comes, right?
Yeah, no, it's year one. We opened up in March of 2022. Yeah, 2022. And like I said, we probably were just cleaning a couple houses a month. And being in real estate, I will say that I did, of course, get business from that. And just like you said, with the integrity part, one of the immediate questions people had in my field were, is this somehow gonna make it to where he's getting my client in real estate, right? He's cleaning their houses. Is he gonna be the one? Fortunately, I had to make a decision right then and there that I wouldn't let that happen. If it's coming from another agent or another client, like that's fine. I'm not here to. I take that hat off and put on this one.
Yeah, that's good.
And once again, I know that deep down in my heart that I did do the right thing.
Yeah.
I bring that up mainly because I did get business. I want to make sure I am transparent on. I did get business from being in real estate, but you got to also understand that these were all pretty much one-time jobs, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they help with the sales portion, but in order for me to sell my company, an 18-month-old company, it really sold based on two things, and one was its reputation because of the reviews, because of the decisions that we made to provide a good service. If it was a 2-star rated company, I guarantee it wouldn't have happened.
Right.
And if you are someone in that position, I definitely recommend getting with a reputation, someone that works with reputations for businesses, and they can help get that fixed up and corrected and do it the right way. And then the second thing was the accounts we had. While I agree with you, you can't always say yes. I've definitely said no plenty of times, but I was definitely open to new things. And I would tell people, like, I'm a family-owned business. I'm open to trying this, but just understand that we've never done this before. And I say that as an example of this week, the company's out cleaning sailboats. We're not a sailboat company, but these are like 5-bedroom, 5-bathroom catamarans, and they're brand new in the water. And I guess they're going to the Bahamas, and that's super cool. And I called my team. I was like, "Are you guys interested in this?" And they were all about it. 5 straight days of work. Give them the hours, right? Whenever the new business owner did their due diligence, the only negative things they found were, one, the business was young, 18 months young, and 2, that I paid too much. Right, which is a common trend in this industry. And once again, there wasn't anybody that made less than $20 an hour with me.
Yeah.
Granted, they had their own requirements to be a part of the team, such like uniform, showing up on time, bringing their supplies. It was one way I was able to attract multiple employees was because of how much I was paying. I was pretty transparent, and I always, every week, it wasn't about like, oh, how much money can I make? How much money can I make? It was how much money can I make my team? How many hours? Like, I need jobs to feed my team. If my team doesn't have jobs, they can't support their families. And just doing all of that together, like, it fed me.
Yeah, that's so good. I think it's really important, like, when people are building a home service company, that you don't just, build it, like, just to keep yourself busy doing work. But I like that you built something that you were able to sell, right?
And surprisingly. It took me by surprise. Not like I didn't try. I was attempting, and I was hoping, and praying for the best. But, whenever we actually had a very large client that owed us about $40,000. And for a home service business running by yourself, that is a huge hit.
Yeah.
And it almost shut me down.
Sure.
They weren't paying me on time. I couldn't pay my team on time. I'm not anybody special. I don't have 40 grand sitting around. Like I may have had $5,000 to my name at the time. Fortunately, I had like a $20,000 payroll that I had to pay out to these employees. And at that point is when I reached out to my foster mom, who at that point became my partner. she gave me a small investment for a percentage of the company, and that was really her part in it.
Okay.
But that kept me alive right then and there because
Sure.
it was, and this wasn't even that long ago. This was in 2023,
Okay.
and like I was like, wow, this one thing can shut me down, and I actually had to cancel the client because I still wasn't getting paid.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because some of these larger companies, you would think they would it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, these people got it together. I don't. That's the last thing I got to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm up at the office begging for a check.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not even like because I needed the money. It was because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, guys, I can't pay these people that have already done the work.
Yeah.
So fortunately, got the I prayed about it, prayed hard. God blessed me with that investment. That made our payroll happen. I canceled the client, and it felt like we started from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately, we had a lot of residentials, vacation rentals. We serviced those a lot. I would say that
Mm-hmm.
there were a couple of big clients, a couple of big real estate investors and agents in this county that partnered with me in the beginning,
Right.
and taught me a lot as far as like we serviced a lot of high end vacation rentals, Melbourne Beach.
Sure.
So completely different from a residential deep clean, completely different from commercial. So over the first year, I was taking on everything. Year two came. I figured out real quick what I wanted and didn't want. And whenever when I came back to paying my investor, I was like, listen, I don't know how I'm going to get you this money back, but I'm going to try to sell the company, and that way you can make your money back. That's the only way, right?
Right.
Like there's no way I'm going to be able to give you just 20 grand, and I can pay
Right.
you off
Sure.
slowly.
Sure.
But so I called a couple of business brokers and sent them. I was using QuickBooks. I had an accountant out of Satellite Beach. I used 10x Tax Solutions, and they're phenomenal. I recommend them to anybody. They've saved me, and they're very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
But because of them, because of QuickBooks, and because of all those jobber reports, really,
Yeah.
I was
Right.
able
Right.
to provide some documentation on our business. And excuse me, the buyer ended up being somebody that, of course, was from down south, like down in the Miami area,
Sure.
and they were really just buying my accounts because they wanted to expand up here. But of course, they bought the company name and my office and took the whole shebang, which is all good for me. I mean, they need all of that to run the
Yeah.
operation. But yeah, because of all the running it the right way, I wouldn't have been able to sell it if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the QuickBooks, so you got to do it the right way. And I think year one, I had a lot of people trying to get paid under the table. And once again, I made a decision right then and there that I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
It was more headache than it was help. And there were times I wish I would have, but I'm happy I didn't because once again, if 18 months in, I don't know. I haven't even ever heard of a business selling in that young, to be honest with you. And I almost made six figures, like
Right,
selling
yeah.
this company, and it's been life changing for me and my family. We've been able to
Right.
pay off a majority of our debt. We're
Right.
able to have another a small reserve fund for our family, as well as I'm trying to come up with what's my next investment or what's my
Yeah,
next
yeah.
move. Do I just open up cleaning companies and try to flip them every 2 years?
Right.
I really don't know, but fortunately, I've been blessed that now, because I've been so dedicated and driven in my cleaning business, and I've correlated that to just helping people in real estate, my real estate business is flourishing to where I have 10 deals at a time going on right now, and
Yeah.
it's like that's what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
I don't need to be running a cleaning business, making maybe 5 or 10 grand a month. I need to be focusing on helping people in houses, and maybe I'll just start feeding the new owner jobs too, and still be involved a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I've had people come to me and say, whether they own a home service business or maybe they don't, and I talk about you should build a business with the intention to sell it or building it to be able to sell it, right? Because then it becomes an investment. I've had guys tell me like, oh, you can't sell a painting company. And I think what you just hit on is so key is you can when you build value. And how do you build value for a business? You have good books. Like if you can prove that revenue that's coming in and you can back it up with good bookkeeping, and accounting, you can show proof of, income and profit margins, right? That's going to help. If you can have a database of your customers' information.
Yep.
That's why Jobber is so key for home service business owners. It gives them a place to keep track of all of that information. And if you don't have that, if you're just writing your customers' information down on paper and losing it or throwing it away, of course, somebody who wants to buy or may be interested in your business might turn away because you have nothing to prove
It's very risky.
how much money you make. Do you have clients? Do you have a client database CRM that they can tap into and have this pool of potential, future customers and income? So those are all things that, like with my company, Seal Pro Painting, that I do to try and plan for that in the future, right?
Yeah, you never know,
Yeah.
and even if, let's say you're not the person that sells it, I mean, if you pass it down to someone, below you, it's like, you never know what could end up happening. And if you want that company to continue to thrive, you need to do it the right way. And
Right.
I'm all about, being smart and not, you know, purchasing unnecessary stuff or, like, I mean, I'm in business to make money too, but,
Right.
in the very beginning, I used Square, and I've recommended that to people just getting started, because Jobber isn't free, and
Right.
it was a risk that I was nervous about even making the investment, but it was a no-brainer to do the annual one, and I was like, you know what, that'll give me a year to see if I like it, and sure enough, I don't think I would have sold the company if I didn't have it, to be honest with
Yeah.
you. It had the database, it had my records for 2023 sitting there ready to go, the reports, I have so many.
Yeah.
The time clock tracking with the GPS, I love that feature. I was able to make sure my team was where they said they
Right.
were.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do recommend Square still to people that like don't want to spend any money on it, because they have free options, and that's what I used first. And at least it's a database,
Yeah.
and you're able to send invoices and keep track of your sales. But yeah, it wasn't difficult. I mean, I did my own LLC on Sunbiz, $150. I called I just Googled commercial insurance, called, got a quote. It wasn't very expensive. It was, for my industry, it was under $300 a month to begin with. I was like, okay, well, now I gotta make some sales. Like, now we got bills
Right.
to pay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then it ended up going to where I was able to grow, and actually was able to lease an office out of Cape Canaveral. Like I said, we didn't have any company cars. I really was trying to get to that point, but all my team had to supply their own transportation and supplies. But yeah, we had the branding, the logos. I mean, I had a lot of marketing as far as shirts and stickers and Facebook, I say I didn't do any spending. I probably boosted a couple posts on Facebook, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, it's not like you were
promotional stuff.
Yeah.
Like, hey, into September sale or something, I boosted $100. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was truly phenomenal. And to go back to what you were saying a second ago too, I didn't even know if I was doing it the right way, to be transparent. And I did not build the business to sell it. I was building the business to try to build something for my family. And I prayed a lot, man. I did. Even whenever I was under contract with a buyer. I was like, God, if you want me to sell it, let it be. And if you don't, then I'm gonna just keep growing it. And and I think from going under contract to my closing day, which is about 40 days. I had picked up like 10 more clients. Like, I was still running that thing. Like, I was, like it wasn't selling. And
Right,
because
right.
I really didn't know. And I didn't feel like it was going to happen. I was like, haven't had it that long. We were doing probably 300,000 is what we were at roughly, plus or minus. But for the year to date. So, I mean, we were doing great for an average
Right.
invoice of like $200,
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
But whenever the buyer sent me back the report from the due diligence, he hired an attorney to do his due diligence. Like, tell me if this is worth buying. And they sent back saying that they recommend purchasing it. And the two flaws were the age and that I'm paying people too much. I was like, man, that felt good.
Yeah,
that was
no,
like,
that's awesome.
man,
Yeah.
like, wow, okay, I guess I did do it the right way.
Yeah, no, I mean, what it goes to say is, like, if you have a, good culture, good values, and you run your business with integrity, and you focus on getting those reviews and building that, like, what we would call social proof of,
Right.
like, who you are and what you
Your
stand
footprint.
for, right? Then the business just kind of naturally comes in, right? And then it's just continuing to operate inside of those values, serve people well, provide great customer service, and and I like that you shared, you face challenges, because I think a lot of people will think that, like, I've been in business we're in our 7th year of business, and last year we were on track to hit 1 million, and then I hit, like, just obstacle, and everything, like, crashed down. And, like, my worst month last year was like 10 grand in revenue, where I was doing like 90,000 plus.
Right.
And so there's challenges that come what would you, I'd like you to talk about just when those challenging times come, what mindset, what do you like dig into to keep moving forward? And, because obviously an entrepreneurial journey is not easy. So people who want to start a business, they have to understand that it's going to be hard. Where did you find that resolve and that resilience to like push through the challenges?
Yeah, 100%. I had problems too, just like any company. And there
Yeah.
were months that, like, if you looked at my books, it looked like I was negative every month, because money was coming in, but it was going out, and it was paying for my lifestyle essentially. I mean, there was
Hmm.
a period where I didn't sell a house in 6 months, so thank God I had this cleaning business bringing help me
Right.
pay my bills.
Right.
Um, I mean, I just talked about an issue a few minutes ago where, like I said, I was having a hard time getting paid for work that was done, and this was from a major
Hmm.
builder,
Right. Right.
and um, people not showing up all the time. I'm not working with engineers here. I'm working with normal people that most of them have had kids and had stuff going on, and it's like they're all different personalities.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I said, I really give credit to working in the T-Mobile field for so long, because it definitely taught me a lot about managerial and how to work with multiple personalities.
Right.
With the troubles that came, I prayed. I remember that it started from nothing,
Hmm.
and it can start from nothing and go back up again. And in business, there's ups and downs, and um, not to walk. I guess the one phrase, and I would always say it to my managers and to my team, is we are solution providers. We are
Hmm.
solution providers. Like, I understand you're upset. I understand there's a problem. I understand every job canceled today. Whatever.
Hmm.
What's our solution? Do you guys want to go hand out some flyers and try to get some business? Do you guys want to go home and enjoy your day off now? Like, what is the solution here? And I would always call multiple people to try to get different perspectives. I'm definitely a huge believer in you're a product of your environment.
Hmm.
Um, if I was always around people that were not supporting the business, which I had been in. One of my brokerages I was at did not support my cleaning company at all, and literally said, "Go back to T-Mobile. That's where you can clean toilets." Essentially,
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So great leadership, right? But it's like, not that. I'll tell you, that's not it. That's not where
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found it. But I would love to say it's from reading some certain books, or
Hmm.
but I'm honestly, I'm so busy that I don't get to read as much as I want. Yeah, just talking to people. At one of my mortgage lenders, he's a great friend of mine now, and he's somebody that's also a man of faith, and we're always pushing each other in business, and
Hmm.
morally, we even make jokes all the time, like, yeah, we could just go be drug smugglers or something, but we actually have morals, and don't we want to
Yeah.
do it the
Yeah.
right way? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's always ways to get rich quick, the wrong way, and then the right way feels so much better.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned that, like, you relied on your faith and prayer. I tell a lot of people, I don't know how there are people out there who get through some of these struggles without faith, right? Because when my business went through a really hard time last year, the only thing that, like sustained me was, prayer and, just having that faith to like push through the struggles despite what was going on and just have that faith. Like, all I've got to do is just take that next step forward and just have that faith that God will work it out. And, my responsibility is to just keep moving forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And today might be a hard day, but I'm going to go to sleep and I'm going to wake up the next day. I'm going to do everything that I know to do today. And it might not be perfect, but I'm going to just keep doing that every single day. And I'm going to stack wins on top of wins. And, slowly I built myself back up.
Yeah.
So we went from, like I said, last year doing, our best month was, over 90,000 in revenue, to where we dropped all the way down to $10,000 in revenue. And then I slowly built it back up to now where we're doing, on average 50 to 60 plus in revenue
Awesome.
per month. And, it's the only thing that I can say is that, yes, there were things that I had to do, right, to take action on
Mm-hmm.
and, implement things. But at the core of it, it was like the faith and prayer that sustained me through all of those challenges.
Yeah, there's no coincidence that when I was at my previous job at T-Mobile, not making any money, very unhappy, that I was crying all the time, and I was nowhere close to God. I was the exact opposite. Really bad habits. Never prayed with my family, probably ever, and to where taking that weekend off, visiting my biological dad. He took me to the church he went to, having that saving moment, giving my life to the Lord, and then taking my family with me on that journey through the past 2 years of leaving that job, going in real estate, opening the cleaning business. Like, there's way too many coincidences for it not to be God.
Yeah, yeah.
There's, like I said, there's multiple weeks where payroll was a thing. My foster mom coming in and giving me an investment, I didn't even think she had that much money to her name. Right? And I was literally like, I don't know what to do, God. If you want, like, you tell me what you want here. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't have it. And, like, that's the stuff that would happen.
Yeah.
Or that company that owed me money, they'd send me just enough to make payroll. Or, just all, the business selling in 18 months. Like, that was not on my radar, but clearly that's in the plan.
Yeah, yeah.
And same thing with real estate. And I say that to my clients. There's been clients that work with me, and I even get other agents and people that message me like, I'm scared to post about my faith on social media. Aren't you afraid of losing clients? Like, well, not really. It's like, if they are already that offended by what I'm saying, we probably don't need to be working together.
Right, right.
And you don't get through, in real estate now, because that's what I'm doing full time. It's like, rather I'm recruiting agents, because that's part of my office too, is I want to bring as many people onto my people first group as possible to have the same vision.
Right.
And then, of course, work with clients, and then hopefully in the long run have another business that is completely sustainable, to where I don't have to be the one selling all the time. I can just be handing it and giving it to my team, giving back another way.
Right.
But you don't get through offers, inspections, appraisals, and closings without a little bit of faith. And I tell people that all the time. Like, whenever I'm like, don't think I'm weird. If this is the one we're under contract on or listing, I'm gonna pray about the house real quick, and it can't hurt, right? And I've never had anybody tell me no. So
Yeah. That's so good. Well, I'm going to bring us to a close, but what I really like and what I hear you saying is, like, for those people out there who want to start a business, or like I said, they're, working, in their business all the time, they're not really having any freedom. What I hear you saying is, like, run your business with excellence. Put the right things in place. The business is going to come, and when it comes, it'll, free you up to hire people and get people in place so that you can focus on growing it. And I love that you are able to sell the business, and it's exciting to hear that you have so many plans in real estate to continue that success. And but yeah, do you have any final thoughts, again, for like that person who's either wanting to start a business or wanting to get out of working in their business? What's like a final thing that you would want to say for them?
yeah, final thoughts are, just do something. If you have that goal, write it down. I'm a big believer in writing your goals down. I think I've been doing that since like 2016. And at my house, you can see where it's like a scrap piece of paper with pencil, and then like over the years, it's gotten into pen, then a full sheet. Now I'm on Canva making fancy templates. So it's like, you do that and put the energy into it, and it's in your face every day. Write it down, because it's powerful. You're gonna hit those goals. And now it's to a point where, since then, I was maybe hitting one goal a year, to where I'm crushing every one I put on paper. And so you got to make a plan. You get it out of your head, write it on paper, and then just pray about it. And what's supposed to happen will happen. So.
Yeah, I think it's so important. What you touched on is having a plan, but then taking massive action and implementing whatever you write down. I've talked to so many different people who have wanted to start a home service business, and it's like, you can tell them, have a plan, here's what you can do, and then they don't take action. So it's important that that's exactly what you said. It's like, you just have to start, just do something. And then when you do that one thing with excellence, and when you are, you offer great customer service and a great experience, it's going to turn into more.
The common factor too, I actually opened up at least 4 LLCs last year. So this wasn't like my only, like, I was trying to make something happen. The common factor was, I had a friend helping me with one, another friend helping me with another, and they didn't know how to take action. And I'm somebody that literally, I was supposed to open the cleaning business with somebody else too, and we weren't on the same page. Like, they were wanting to meet up in a month, and I was like, I'm doing this now.
Sure.
So if you don't know what to do something.
Yeah, that's so good. Well, hey, Trenton, if somebody wants to connect with you, how can they reach out to you? Whether that's socials, your website. Could you just share that information?
Yeah, social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. TrentMillerSold.com is my website. Just Google me, you'll find me. I'm all over the place. So.
Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure having you on, Trenton, and getting to know your story and what you're doing. We'll have to connect again, maybe in the next 6 months or so, and see where you're at and what you're doing. Hopefully, you've got some big things happening. Thank you so much for watching the Off the Ladder podcast. We'll see you for the next episode. All right, I'm just going to turn this off.